Hello, I'm Bruce Apar, and you're watching Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog. Hello again, and welcome to Frank Talks with Bruce the Blog, brought to you every week, or if you're watching it on YouTube, it could be every day, by Penny Saver and our parent company, Chase Media Group. So we always thank our CEO, Carla Chase, and my co-host, who is not here for this show, Frank J. Rich, but he will be back, and we thank them for putting us up. And I want to immediately welcome my guest, Libby Pataki.
How are you?
Right? Libby, welcome, Director of Tourism for Putnam County, right?
Yes.
And with you, of course, is John Eustice of Sparta Cycling.
Hello.
Right, John? And we're here to talk about a really exciting event, which is a first, right, for Putnam County and probably beyond for the region, which is the first annual Putnam Cycling Classic, October 14, right? And this was like your brainstorm, right, Libby, pretty much?
Well, we had a disaster last year. Everybody can remember the disastrous weather we had, and
Right.
what was formerly known as the Tour de Putnam would have been the 13th year, I believe. The hurricane struck, disaster struck. September was historically horrible. And so they had to reschedule it last year, and it turned out that they rescheduled it for October, and it ended up being an absolutely beautiful day. So this year I came in March as the new tourism director, and I said, wouldn't it be great to do this event, rename it, and have it be sort of an end-of-season event and look to October as this beautiful weather that maybe would be a little bit more reliable than we now know August and September aren't necessarily the most beautiful, wonderful months.
Right.
It turned out in August, a lot of people did complain about the heat in prior years. So October 14th, is our new date. And I think that we will historically, henceforth, try to do it the second Sunday after Columbus Day, which is what this will be, October 14th.
Right.
So that's our new day, and whatever day that falls on, it'll be that day.
And I guess it's, for the same reasoning, for example, the New York City Marathon is always, in fact, they moved it back over the years into November, right, because of the cool weather and it's better for the runners, in this case, cyclists.
And it makes sense, and it's after the summer holidays,
Right.
people are more settled in, and it's a kind of a grand finale, and John actually was the one who expressed this so well in the early days of our planning, that it could be something that people could look forward to as the cherry on top, the grand finale of the cycling time of year.
Right.
Obviously people will still cycle into November and December, but as far as a big, certainly on a state level, a big bicycling event, this could be a good time to do it.
I mean, before they go into hibernation, so to speak, right. And John, your company, Sparta Cycling, promotes, right, these kinds of events, and you yourself were a champion cyclist, and have done Tour de France analysis on air, right, for ESPN and for ABC, and so what goes into the planning of something like this? I mean, from reading the details, which we'll get into, today as well, it's a very sophisticated effort and project, right?
Well, we hope so. I've been involved in the professional racing world since almost since I was a kid. Sort of ran away with the circus when I was 15 with the racing world. It's almost that.
Right.
And I've been involved in the production, both television and event production of professional racing for 20 years.
Right.
Just in the past couple of years, we decided to take all that knowledge and to do a proper, what we call a UCI.
And what does that stand for?
International Cycling Union. It's out of Switzerland.
Okay.
It's like Swiss building code. It really is. These things you have to do. So we're good at that now.
Right.
And so we have this concept of taking the professional race course, the professional atmosphere, implementing it into a beautiful community, but then letting recreational riders, the serious cyclists, the ones you see on Sunday afternoons. Let them try it, so they can, almost like playing a round of golf on the Masters before the pros hit, or running down a football field before the pro teams come on. So you get a chance to experience that, or the 3 to 6 hour marathon runners in the New York Marathon.
Right.
They've got all the same trappings that the Kenyans who are in front have, but they're doing their thing.
Right.
It's a little bit of that. So I was fortunate enough to meet Libby, and we had a meeting of minds on this. They needed a signature event for Putnam County, and I had a signature event in mind, and it all worked out sort of perfectly. This has been expanding through Libby and through the rest of the offices, if you will, of Putnam County. We've had the most remarkable civic cooperation, I got to say. It's been beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's been smooth as glass getting this thing implemented.
Right.
You have that along with this just wonderful terrain, old growth forests, beautiful roads, clean air, lakes. I mean, everything you could want in a bike ride. Train station from Grand Central that drops you off right there.
Right.
All these serendipitously,
Yes,
all
right.
these things that have fell into place.
Right.
And I'm extremely excited about the possibilities for this event.
And I saw in going through all the material, which is very detailed and very helpful, that people can go to ridewithgps.com and they could see the course, right?
Yes.
They could see the.
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just worked out really well because we're doing something on a really professional level.
Yes.
And when John said a signature event, that's really what it's going to be. It's
Right.
going to be kind of a new experience. It's going to be on a much higher level, a little bit more sophisticated. Bicycling is coming into its own in this country, and I like to bike. I think it's so good in so many ways. It's
Right.
healthy.
Yes.
I love the demographics of the cyclists. I see more and more of them every day. I commute over to Carmel. It's 301, which is now renamed the Hudson River Turnpike.
Right.
And it is a beautiful training road for bicyclists. And I see
Right.
many, many cyclists in their uniforms.
Right.
And I think what it brings to the county is very special because it's a wonderful demographic of people. They
Right.
come in as day trippers. They are tourists, obviously.
Right.
They don't pollute. They
Right,
don't scream
right.
and
That's
yell.
a very good point.
They don't cause
Right.
any problems.
Right.
They don't litter. They stop and partake.
Right.
They enjoy what
Right.
we have to offer with nature and our delis and
So it's good for the
our
economy, the
trains,
local economy.
ridership
Right.
goes up.
Yeah.
It's a good tourism thing.
Right.
But it's also, in my opinion, very, very nice for intra-county because everybody in our county sees, wow, what a great lifestyle.
Yeah.
Get on a train, go
Right.
have a bike ride, you feel great, it's healthy, these people are fit, obviously, or they couldn't do it. Then they leave, and it's a day tripper dream.
And do you know, are there any numbers actually on, even nationally, is cycling as a recreational sport, is it going up, staying steady?
Growing up, especially, a lot of interesting data there. First of all, one of the reasons that they're making New York City such a bike-friendly city is they're trying to make it a new tech zone, right?
Right.
All the new Silicon Valley East or whatever they want to call it.
Right.
And all those young kids that bright young kids, they're trying to attract, come live in New York.
Yes, yeah.
Those
right.
kids want to ride their bikes.
Right.
The younger generation, they don't want to drive the car to the mall anymore.
Right.
They don't want
Right.
to do that. They want to they want to walk. They want to live in a community.
Right.
They want to ride their bikes places. So that's one thing to think about. More doctors, when they go to retreats now, do communal bike rides than golf outings. When they do their
And that's very interesting.
It's-
Yeah.
I mean, there are
Yeah.
all these little
That is-
things that
yeah.
pop up like this.
Right.
Wall Street's very cycling driven.
Right.
A lot of bike riders out of Wall Street.
Right.
You see them in Central Park every day charging around.
Yep. Yeah.
And so it is absolutely coming up. And for instance, I organized a big race in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And it's really cute. We have little kids races. This is like a professional race on a circuit. I have little kids races. They get to race under the finish line with the loudspeakers and the big overheads.
Are there bicycles or tricycles?
Both. Well,
no, I mean, you
have
have
the tri-wheel, the little tri-wheeler
Right,
things?
yeah, yeah,
We even have,
that's what
what do you call those
That's
things?
funny.
Big wheels? Big wheels. We have
Okay,
big
right,
wheel
big
races.
wheels,
Those are the
yeah.
most popular. So many kids this year.
Wow.
Triple what we've ever had.
Wow.
So you just see
That's
it in
great.
all
You
these
get them
places.
started like little kids in Europe on skis when they're 2.
Yes,
Exactly.
right, that's right.
Same
yeah.
idea.
Or hockey in Canada. Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And the one thing I would like to thank Libby as a cyclist, a lifelong cyclist, is what she's doing with this initiative is when you bring a national event, a big event into a community, like Ripples, all the cycling around it improves because all of a sudden you have a collection of good riders. And you see how the good riders ride, and you learn, and you watch, you see how they do in traffic. And that knowledge sort of permeates out. And wherever you have a big event, you have better cycling communities. So what this event will do will help not only educate the bike riders, which is an important part, because no one educates the bike riders, which is a real problem with the growth of this sport. They just throw them out there. Whoop, there you go.
Right.
And educates the bike riders, and also educates the community.
Right.
And so the community that lives and coexist with the bike riders in Putnam, they see the riders organized, they see it done well,
Right.
They'll see it bringing benefit to their community. Maybe they want to get excited and ride. Maybe they want to get fit, and they've got an objective. Hey, I'm going to do that thing next year. I'm going to train for it. My wife wants to ride it next year. She's all excited to get ready for it. And it's this sort of thing. So you'll get more people from the community interested in a healthy sport. You get this race going, I guarantee you, with that tough terrain, you're going to have some champion bike riders out of Putnam County, too. That's my interest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Find the young, hungry boy, girl
like a
champion.
talent scout, huh?
I'm
so-
always looking for more women cyclists.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the things
that's
that's
great.
very, very fun
Yeah.
in our talking about our demographic is the supervisor of Phillipstown, Richard Shea, is a cyclist.
Oh, so he's going
A
to be
serious cyclist, but maybe not amateur professional. And the mayor of our town of Cold Spring, where we're staging the beginning and the ending of the event, where people get off the train, the Metro
That's
North.
Seth?
Seth
Yeah,
Gallagher,
Gallagher, yeah.
is a cyclist,
Right.
and so the two of them have thrown the gauntlet to each other.
So they'll be in the
And
race?
so they're bringing in a sidekick, both of them.
Ringers.
Ringers, but this is what John is talking about.
Yeah.
Is
So it
that
raises
we
their
are
game.
getting
Yeah.
the community in the mix, and of course I was ribbing them a little that, okay, you two need to time each other, and so now their juices are flowing,
Right.
and you know what, from there it's just what John's referring to. It's going to get other people, for example, the deputy county executive likes to bicycle. He's semi-serious. Well, now he's getting
Let's
serious.
mention his name. Yeah.
His name is Bruce
Bruce.
Walker.
Right.
My husband's partner, John Cahill, who's a 3-time Ironman. He's getting on board.
And just to confirm, your husband is past Governor George Pataki, in case anybody's wondering about the name.
So
so we're talking to the former First Lady of New York, by the way.
So John Cahill is very excited and has actually met John. But this is how it's working. It's becoming, spreading. And as I said before, the demographic appeals to me because we are setting a wonderful example for the young people.
Yeah.
I mean, the young people are obviously coming to New York City. I can see the initiative in New York City is having an impact. But what I can see for Putnam is that these young people, especially in real nice weather, are going to want to come up to our county where the air is a lot cleaner.
Yep.
There's a lot of trees. We have these beautiful stone walls along our. It's very scenic. It's healthful.
Right.
So I'm very interested in the day trippers coming up.
Right. And I just want to, as a side note, add to what you were saying, John, and what you're saying, Libby, about the younger generation now, and a lot of them do live in Manhattan, because I know a lot of my friends and neighbors' children who graduated college work and live in Manhattan. But it's really true in terms of their focus and their interest in staying fit and a different kind of lifestyle. That really does go back to Silicon Valley. Google and Apple, they have these huge campuses where they provide those kinds of amenities, right, for their employees. They have all kinds of recreational opportunities on campus, as they call it. They call it a campus. And so now it's good to hear it's flowing over into the East Coast as well. And so there are 100 spots in the race. Is that true?
No.
So I
We
read
want
that
to dispel that rumor
Okay, I
right
saw
now.
that in the material.
No, well, what we were trying to do is encourage people to register early.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so somewhere along the line, it was 100 spaces on the train. But I think that Metro North might have been a little concerned when this first came up. But actually, it's wide open. It's wide open. As many people register, we will have room. That's not a problem.
Okay, so there's no limit.
No.
Okay.
No, the only thing is if people register early, it's a little bit less expensive. So absolutely, we welcome people to come the day of, but it'll cost a little more.
So it's what, 85 is the
It's
advance?
85 to register, and if people show up the day of, a lot of people wait and see the weather.
Yeah,
And so they
sure,
say, okay,
right.
we'll just hedge our bets. We'll come on the day of, and if you get a nice day, you get people. So it's not a big deal. I mean, it's a little bit of a differential, but some of these guys are hilarious. They're on, how much do these bikes cost?
Yeah.
Yeah, how much do they cost? What?
They're fortunes. So I mean,
Thousands, right?
So I don't
Yeah.
think they care about the
Right.
registration, but
Well, bikes now cost what cars used to cost,
Oh,
basically,
yeah.
right?
I mean, I get them for free because I used to race. I couldn't afford the bikes now.
Yeah.
I
What
mean,
are
on
they,
the
like
bike I ride?
Are they 4,000 or 5,000?
No,
What?
my bike. I got a real Tour de France bike, like a proper Tour de France bike from a company called Canyon. It's like $12,000.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
10,000 euros, $13,000.
Wow.
but we don't want to scare people off.
No,
with
no,
no-
you
You
don't
don't
doesn't
need that.
have to be like that.
You don't need that. Just so you know, a $900 or $1,100 bike today
Right.
is so much a better bike than what they won the Tour de France on a decade ago.
Really?
You can't
Wow.
believe it.
That's
yeah.
interesting. That's
Oh,
a really
yeah.
interesting point.
So,
Right.
so you know, you don't. I mean, there's a lot of overkill. Do you really need carbon fiber brakes? Do you
Right,
really need all?
right.
No, you don't.
Right.
It's fun to have if you got the money, if you want to do it, if you love it.
Right.
You know, it's nothing the matter with having good cars or bikes or cameras or skis or whatever. If you like it, good. But if you're physically fit, you need to do it. You don't need to spend a ton of money. You get a bike
Right.
that fits properly, is reliable. That's all you need.
Right. Now, do you have sponsors for the race?
We have a lot of sponsors,
I mean,
yeah.
and like, are bike shops involved or anything
Yes,
like that?
yes. And Bikeway, which is a bike trail in Putnam County, which
Yeah.
is a spectacular recreational bike path, 100% safe, dedicated to bicyclists. They're over in Carmel, so I go at lunchtime a lot. I go on Bikeway. It's
Oh.
called Bikeway Bike Path Country is
Right.
the name of the company. They were actually our first sponsor. And then we have the
Okay.
Mayapack Bike Shop, we
Right.
have BMW, we have Dominic Bertolini, we have Central Hudson, we have the Putnam County News and Recorder.
Okay,
We
right.
have a lot that we have Hudson Valley Hospital Center.
Right, which-
So
yeah.
there are many sponsors, and they're coming in because obviously to stage an event of this level, you need sponsorships to do it right, to do
Right.
it professionally.
Oh, no, absolutely. In fact,
So-
by the way, I just, again, as a side note, I'm often at the George Pataki Center, Conference Center at the hospital, but I'm on the board of the foundation of the hospital.
And the
So,
hospital
yeah.
has been terrific.
Oh, no, well, John Federspiel, the
Very
CEO, has done an
supportive.
amazing job with that place.
Very,
Yeah.
very supportive of
Yeah.
this event. Again, it comes into the whole question of good health habits.
Right.
You know, a bicyclist is going to be a healthy person.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
And, you know, it all feeds into that whole notion of, hey, what do we do best in our county? We have the most beautiful terrain.
Right.
We have relatively quiet roads. We have beautiful rural roads. We have ancient they're old farm paths, so they're very scenic.
Right.
You know, and they're
And-
not populated. We
right.
don't have a city in our county.
Right.
So you're really riding in the country for the most part.
Right.
The 62-mile run, important to me, is going to go into every township.
So, and that's the longer run, obviously,
That's
of
the
the
longer.
two.
And
right.
John can talk about the runs, but
Yeah.
expert routing.
Right.
has
And so,
gone
John,
into
do you
this.
do you personally draw up the courses?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Oh, I always use local knowledge. So you work with someone from the community. You say, okay, where would you ride? How would you do this? And
Right.
you get the overall sort of local view on it, and then you edit. And
Right.
well, because I do have a lot of experience. So this, that, change this, and you push and shove and
Talk to the police.
I do all those
about
things.
intersections.
But we've got a beautiful course, two beautiful courses, and so
And the other one we should just mention, the other one is 50K or 35 mile,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's it's a shorter version, and
Right.
all of the rides are chip timed. So you have an electronic chip.
Right.
So you get your time. You can do age group classifications, so you can see how you do within your age group.
Right.
And it'll be a feed zones and cars behind the spare
So it's
wheels.
meaning
and-
what? People standing, providing
Yeah,
food and
for the food,
beverage
just
and
like a little,
water.
it's like a whole little Walter Mitty Tour de France experience.
Right.
I think. It really is. It really what it is. Look,
Right.
and we use the same directional arrows that the Tour de France uses. You know, that's all.
Oh, that's great.
It's a really,
Yeah.
it's a race course.
Right.
And then you finish in the beautiful town of Cold Spring, and then you're going to have a wonderful Italian meal halfway down the hill.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
as part of your entry fee. And then, if you've taken the train from Manhattan, you have your wine, your beer, your pasta. You're all happy.
And
on
we're
the train.
happy
You roll
because
down the
then,
train.
That's
people
really
go
great.
to the restaurants, a lot of the families will come up, the kids will come up.
Right.
Hopefully a lot of intra-county, a lot of people in all the various towns that this ride goes through are
Right.
going to come out. I am really excited to get
Yeah.
everybody watching these people go by and having one little kid go, wow, this is cool, this is what I want to do when I grow up, and that kid could become a professional cyclist.
Yeah, no,
You know,
but it
that's
occurs to
how
me
it
maybe, yeah, and as you're describing it, number one, it makes me feel like, boy, now I wish I was in the race. But
Next year.
Right, next year. But it should be. You should try to have it televised at some point.
It is going to be televised.
Oh, this year it is? Oh, how is that being done?
We got a film crew going to come
you
out
do?
and shoot bits and put together like a half-hour to 1 hour
Okay,
show.
so it won't be live.
Live, no, that'd be expensive.
But yeah, but I know, right? As you know, because you've done that yourself. I mean,
We've
as
also
an
reached
announcer,
out to the area newspapers and said, look, this is an opportunity for a photo collage.
Right, absolutely,
And do
yeah.
a whole centerfold in your newspapers. Putnam County News
Right.
and Recorder, as you know, is a very large format.
Yes.
And the centerfold could be, capture pictures of the day.
But yeah, no, it's a
And
nice
do
idea.
something
Yeah,
really
that's
nice
a
with
very
some
good
color
idea.
photos. So I have extended that invitation to, or that opportunity to the newspapers.
Right. And what would be, John, for these two distances, what would be like best times?
2 hours for the short ride, and for the long ride, 2:45.
Oh, okay.
They're going really fast.
Right.
Yeah, 2:45 to 3.
And they're starting at 9:30.
9:30,
So
yes.
basically by noon, it should
By
be
noon to
pretty
2.
much over.
Noon
right?
to 2. The 2 hour window there.
Oh, okay.
They'll all come trickling in because.
noon to 2, okay.
And this is one of the reasons we were able to get such a good cooperation, or we would have had anyway, but it made them happy, I think, is with the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, is that we gave them very precise timetables of how it was going to work.
They were so
Right.
impressed with that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you're too slow, we detour you off the big course. Because the idea is you can't have people out there all day.
Holding up
You can't
traffic.
have a
Yeah.
policeman
Right.
standing on a
Right.
corner for 8 hours
Yeah.
Right.
waiting for someone who's 2.5 hours down the road. You just
Right.
can't do that. It's not
Right.
fair. The community is doing so much for it.
Right.
You can't. It's almost, for me, it's
You
it's
don't want a
abusing.
bad backlash.
Yeah, it's abusing them. So you say
Yeah.
2 hours, that's it.
Right.
And maybe towards the end, maybe 2.5 when it's more spread out.
Right.
But then it's straight down 301, so it's not that big of a deal. So we're trying to make it sort of a crisp, precise event, if I might call it that. It'll start, it'll go through the towns, the police will know when to start and close and open the intersections. They won't be on duty too long, they can move around. And it'll be a big job, but not an overwhelming, we'll
Right.
never do this again job. It'll be
Right.
something that's digestible for the community, if I put it that way. They go,
Right.
oh, this is okay. And goodness, we can do it even better next year. That's the attitude you want to leave them with.
Right. And now, Libby, the county is paying for this? Is that?
No,
Oh,
no. The county. This is the one event of the year that Putnam County Tourism Office owns. This is
Okay.
the office. Our office is the
Right.
office that runs this event. There are many events every year in Putnam. The powwow, the food festival. We have movie festival. We have so many things going on. This
Right.
county's small,
Right.
but wow, is there a lot. So many great groups. But this is the event that the tourism office manages
Right.
and
Okay.
operates.
Right.
And the county doesn't pay
Oh,
for it.
oh,
No,
really?
we raise money through sponsorships
Oh,
and
okay,
through
right.
registrations.
Right, okay. And what is, again, in reading the material, I was intrigued by the phrase broom wagons. What's a broom wagon?
A broom wagon, it sweeps the course of all the stragglers.
Oh,
And so
really?
they actually put a broom on them. So you're swept up by the broom wagon. It means if you can't make it, they throw you in the back. And when you do the Tour de France,
Are you being?
no, it's broom
Are
wagon.
you being serious?
Camion balai on French. Broom wagon. The broom wagon. They put brooms on it.
Really?
Yeah. You never. When you're a racer and you're chugging along and you see the broom wagon behind, it's like the vulture. It's like the vulture's following you. They're trying to get you.
It is a whole
Wow.
culture.
Yeah, it's a whole
Yeah.
culture.
It's a whole culture.
And so in France, what they actually do when you have to go to the broom wagon, it's very humiliating. They take off your numbers, like they rip off your epaulets, and they basically slap you for being stupid and slow and American, and put you in the back. I'm only kidding. I love France. I raced and lived in France for a long time. But in the early days, it was maybe a little bit like that. In the early
In the
80s.
early days.
Right, oh, yeah,
It's
okay.
a little more forgiving
Yeah,
now.
no.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is it's, competitive. So
Right.
obviously people are competing, if only against themselves.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing.
And that's the other thing I want to get to here, which is, the payoff, so to speak. I mean, there's no prizes per se, right? There's
No.
But what you're trying to do, both of you, is have this race going forward become part of that world, right, tour. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Well, as it would be, there's something called the UCI, which is they sanction the Tour de France. They
Right.
sanction the World Championships. I run a race in Pennsylvania, Bucks County Classic, that they sanction. It's one of only 7 or 8 races in all the United States that the UCI sanctions. These are the only ones that are high enough level.
Right.
Okay. Now, this event that we're talking about on the 14th is what we call either Gran Fondo, it's what the Italians call it, or Ciclo Sportivo, it's what north of the Alps call it, which is an organized fast ride on a professional style race course,
Right.
but for every man and woman. You know, so someone's in their 70s and they're fit and they want to ride it, they're so welcome to ride it. We
Yes.
love them, they're our heroes. So it's open for everybody. All right. The UCI has got a world tour of these events, 15 events.
Right.
In France, it's Saint-Tropez. In Italy, it's Trento, up in the north. In South Africa, it's Pierre, it's Martinsburg. You know, Brazil, Sao Paulo, like all around the world. And so I happen to have the sanction for the American event.
Oh.
And we're talking, and I'm pleading my case and trying to talk everybody into it. But I really do believe that this should be the American stop on this 15 event calendar next year.
Counting.
That would be great.
It should
That would be terrific.
Because
I know.
here's the beauty.
Then you
of
might get network interest, right? I mean,
Yeah, oh,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause there's two things. Because what this is, at the end of this 15 race series is a world championship, a Masters
Right.
World Championship, age group World Championship. For example, I ran the American event in Lenox, Massachusetts last May.
Right.
And a woman from New York City, Anne-Marie Miller, came up, qualified, because you have to
That
qualify
was
in
the
these events.
Berkshire's event,
Berkshire's, right.
Right.
She qualified. And I've been coaching her for years. And so I called up, Anne-Marie, you got to go to South Africa. I hammered her. You got to go. And she won 2 world championships.
Wow.
Double world championships.
So this
the
is
po-
your protege.
Yeah.
That's nice.
No, she's
She's
great.
quoted on our website.
Yeah, she's really great. She's
Right.
really great. And but the thing is, people come from all over the world to do these events.
Right.
So in Lenox, we had people from South Africa, Brazil, Panama. And the fact that Libya set up, this is the brilliance of the whole production. It's the thing that makes a difference. The alliance with Metro North and the train.
Right. Oh yeah, that's we didn't mention that yet.
Oh, that's the best
mentioned.
thing of all.
The Metro North Cycling
Putnam
Express.
Cycling Classic.
Putnam Cycling
Express,
Express.
exactly.
Plus some Putnam, I just made that up. It's sort of stuff. And but it goes from Grand Central right to the start line.
Oh.
And
7:50
it's
Yeah, right.
train.
That's right.
beautiful. And so and next year's the 100th anniversary of Grand Central Terminal.
Oh,
Not
perfect
station,
time.
terminal.
Right, terminal, right,
Terminal.
right.
Never called it station. Terminal.
Right.
And they're very excited, by the way. Metro North is very
So
Oh,
for
no, they
a
should be.
European to come in,
Right.
this is all of a sudden turned into a New York vacation.
Right.
They come in, they stay in Manhattan,
Right.
they jump
And
on the
then-
train,
yep,
they come
come up
play
here, right.
in Putnam County
Right.
on our way, they take the train back. Now that is a very, very
It's a
appealing
win-win for
no,
Metro
international-
North, New York City, and Putnam
Oh
County.
yeah. And I want to
So
make
that's what
sure
we're
we
working on.
mention. No, thank you, John. I want to make sure we mention PutnamCycling.com is where they go to
Register.
right,
And
or-
for information.
Right. Or they could also go to PutnamTourism.org, which has all the different events.
Which links you right up.
Okay.
comes
And very
right up.
quickly, because we are at the tail end, I just wanted to quickly ask you, John, your thoughts about the Lance Armstrong situation.
We don't have much time, right?
Yeah, no, a couple of minutes.
Well, a couple of minutes is a
Not
lot.
even,
Look,
but
I'm going to tell you
let's
very
go.
quickly.
Right.
I'll cut right to
1
it.
minute, okay,
And
he's
this
telling
is
me
strictly
1
my
minute.
opinion. This is
Right, right.
no way reflects Putnam County tourism or anything else.
Right.
This is me.
Yes.
John Eustice, former professional racer. I've been banned on certain media outlets in New York City because of my opinions about
Right.
this. I was like, subversive thoughts. I think it's absurd. This guy is a great professional.
Right.
When he was 16 years old, 17 years old, he came, this is 1987.
Right.
Rode a junior race around Bear Mountain,
Right.
junior development. One of his first ever, he won by himself by 7 minutes. And the kid came from a trailer park,
Right.
single 16-year-old mother, and made his way up to flying around the world in a private airplane. He's God bless America for me.
Right.
He shows that you can
So,
make
so
it.
you're saying you think he's
And
clean,
I-
right?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, you're
I'm
not-
not
okay,
saying
you're
that
not
at
saying
all.
that.
What I'm
Okay,
saying is
all right.
it's very difficult to define clean.
Right.
And I think what everyone needs to actually have to do, in the same way they're looking at helmet injuries in football,
Right.
is to look what the realities of professional sport are.
Right.
And no one's doing that. It's all good versus evil.
That's a very good point.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. The guy is a product of international sport, of the Olympic system, every other system, and he's a great champion. And if you want to fix, there's only one way to fix
We
doping in
got it,
sports:
yeah, right.
educate young kids in a proper manner. That's
Right.
the only, and it takes that long. That's the only way it works. Sorry.
Okay. No, great. I'm glad we
That's
got that
it.
in. And thank you, John Eustice of Sparta
My pleasure.
Cycling.
Thank
and
you.
Race director for the first annual Putnam Cycling Classic. Libby Pataki, director of tourism for Putnam County. And when Bruce the Blog listens, people talk. Thanks for watching.